Welcome back. All right, so this is the first Saturday in a long time that I've taken all of the games, even the early ones, thrown them all into the same video. And this is how I'm going to do things from now on. Just looking at the view counts from when I do the reviews of the matinee games. It wasn't. The view counts just weren't that high, and there's other things I can do videos on. Of course, today it's just trade videos because we're right near the trade deadline. But weekends going forward, there'll be other stuff that I talk about during the day. That being said, let us go ahead and jump in with this morning's game. This morning for me anyways, afternoon on the East Coast. Dallas in against the New York Islanders. And this is one of those games where, Dallas really needs the win. Dallas isn't winning very many games when they really just need to win. Basically, it's a win and you're in situation, and here we go. Oettinger versus Varlamov. They had Suter versus Parise they talked about. And I put right here, not a fight, because I don't want people to look at the board and go, they have a fight? No, just Suter in Dallas, Parise in New York, and of course, they were both Minnesota Wild players last year. Shots press at 2.5 minutes. Stars press, I should say, at 2.5 minutes. The shots are 6-0 Dallas at 4.5 minutes. However, Beauvillier gets denied. Oettinger holds. The Islanders getting some momentum. Another good start for Varlamov. Cizikas is denied on a rush. Harley defends a Wallstrom chance. I will say that while Dallas is starting to look like maybe they won't make the playoffs, Harley has had some good development here. Hints to Pavelski won't go. Raffles denied in the closing seconds. We go to the second period, and the score is 0-0. Early-ish in the second period, Pulock scores from Pelech and Clutterbuck at 3:16. And it was a really good press by the New York Islanders that sets that up. The Islanders press again at 6.5 minutes, and they were limiting the Stars' chances. They weren't giving them much at that point in the game. Stars have a power play. That's killed off. Momentum was for Dallas after that, though. But then the Islanders get a power play. That's killed off. We get some scrums. We get a scrum after a whistle. There were very few of those in this game. But then Gurianov scores from Peterson and Suter at 18:46. They scored on a 2-on-1. It's 1-1 after one. Second period. Lots of hitting early in that period. Pavelski can't bury a rebound. There's a power play for the Islanders, and they score on it. It's Brock Nelson who's heating up from Dobson and Barzal at 4:17, and that one bounced off Oettinger into the net. Stars try to answer, however, it's Nelson who blasts one from Beauvillier and Lee at 5:55. So suddenly it's 3-1 for the Islanders. The Islanders look for another. The shots are 11-8 for the Stars with 8.5 minutes left, and at 11:39, Peterson scores from Gurianov and Sagan. So it makes it close. 7:42 left. The Stars get a power play. There's a shorthanded rush for Cizikas that's denied. That's killed off. And to me, that was kind of the game, where Dallas doesn't score on that power play. Peterson's then denied on a rush. The goaltender gets pulled with a minute and 45 seconds left. That allows Nelson to get the hat trick into the empty net at 19:40. So he has a power play goal, a 5-on-5 goal, and an empty net goal. Hat trick, 3 goals scored 3 different ways. Your final score is 4-2 for the Islanders. They're 26-24-9. Dallas drops to 32-24-3. The shots, 12-8 Dallas in the first, 10-7 Dallas in the second, 17-10 Dallas in the third. Final shots, 39-25 for Dallas. Power plays, 0-2 for Dallas, 1-2 for the Islanders. Hits, 31-30 for the Islanders. Oettinger saves 21 out of 24. Varlamov saves 37 out of 39. And it definitely deals a blow to Dallas and their hopes for the playoffs. All right, next up. Chicago in against the Minnesota Wild. So Minnesota, a team looking to get things going as well. They've been playing better lately, and Talbot's in net against Lankinen, so this was all about how they get off to a good start, and they did have the early jump. Hawks get a power play. That's killed off. The shots are 3 apiece, 6 minutes into this. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Eriksson Ek is denied on a break. Hawks press with 8 minutes left. Kubalik has a chance to kick aside. It is Freddie Gaudreau that opens the scoring from Fiala and Merrill at 16:36. He scored that one on a rush. Wild press. They get themselves a power play. Zuccarello has a chance that's held. That power play is killed off. So we go to the second period with it 1-0. The Jost line pressures early in that second period. Zuccarello has a shot that's held. In fact, the shots are 6-2 for Minnesota, 6.5 minutes into that period. We get a crossbar for Merrill. Greenway with a net drive. That won't go. Then he had a wraparound later on. That was saved. The Hawks get a power play. It's killed off. 4:53 left. The Wild get a power play. Killed off as well. Both power plays in this game unsuccessful. Carpenter fires high on a rush. It's 1-0 Minnesota after 2. Third period. Goligoski fires wide as they push. DeBrincat has a shot that's kicked aside. Merrill misses one wide. Momentum for the Wild in this one. Boldy has a net feed. That's grabbed. Tkachuk was denied on a break. I thought Boris Tkachuk had a good debut for Chicago. I thought he played well. He had some good opportunities. I think fans are going to like Tkachuk in Chicago. I do. And then Chicago ties it. It's Seth Jones from Kane and Strome at 8:57. He wires it over Talbot's glove. 7:06 left. The Wild get a power play. Zuccarello's denied. That power play's killed off. The Hawks have a 3-on-2 that misfires. Minnesota gets the lead back. It's Hartman from Zuccarello and Kaprizov at 16:47. Kane tries to answer. There's a goalie pull with 2.5 minutes left. Dewar beats out an icing call. And eventually at 19:53, so just before the game's over, Greenway gets the insurance goal from Merrill. So the empty netter makes it 3-1. Minnesota goes to 36-20-4. Chicago 22-31-9. And oddly enough, they're against each other, and there were rumors that maybe Fleury might end up in Minnesota at the deadline. I think that would be an interesting move to trade him within the division, but it would make some sense for Chicago to make that move, and it would make some sense for Minnesota too. The financing side of things might be a little difficult, and Chicago might ask for a younger goaltender back in that deal. But again, Minnesota likely feeling the need to up their game because other teams in their division have already done so, especially Colorado with their moves, and so they're going to want to do that. The 3-1 win in the shots department, Minnesota outshoots Chicago in every period. 11-7 in the first, 12-7 in the second, 11-8 in the third. Final shots 34-22 for Minnesota. Power play, Chicago 0-2. Minnesota 0-3. The hits 26-15 Chicago. Lankinen kept it close, 31 saves on 33 shots. Talbot played well, 21 saves on 22 shots. And we'll see if Minnesota's goaltending stays the same through the deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a change. All right, next up, New Jersey. And again, this is one of those games, right, where New Jersey looks competitive, and it looks like maybe they're going to get a result, and then they don't. This, again, is why I think next year we're going to see a New Jersey team that's better. These are the learning experiences you get, right? I mean, they're against Edmonton. The king of learning experiences would be the Oilers over the last 15 years. So it's Gillies versus Koskinen. Early on, Draisaitl gets a goal from Puljujarvi and Ceci at 1 minute and 11 seconds. Devils try to answer. In fact, the shots are 5-3 for the Devils at 4 minutes. And Jesper Bratt scores from Hischier and Hamilton at 4:50. So fast break. Nice deke there by Bratt to put it around Koskinen. Ties it up at 1. McDavid then has a net feed that won't go. The Devils get a power play. Edmonton kills that off. We also had 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Some open ice out there. But despite the open ice, it's still tied after 1. Second period, we get a good fight between Geertsen and Kassian. Kassian without the mask in this game, without the bowl. So back to fighting. Oilers press at 3 minutes. The shots are 5-2 in their favor, 4.5 minutes into the period. There's a power play for the Devils. The Oilers kill it off, and some good shot blocking by the Oilers in that as well. Near miss then for Bratt. We get a crossbar for Subban during that same shift for New Jersey. There's an early whistle that saves Gillies where he didn't have the puck, but the referee couldn't see it, so he blows the whistle. It's what referees are supposed to do. Fans get frustrated, but the other option would be for a referee to come over and visually inspect to make sure the puck is loose, and you're going to have all kinds of chaos. You're going to have goalies getting poked at and sticked, and you name it, and it would lead to... So yeah, the idea of them blowing the whistle as soon as they lose sight of the puck, it makes sense to me. So Devils get a power play. There's a shorthanded near miss for Hyman. That power play is killed off. And then Kane at 17:48, he scores from Nurse and McDavid. That makes it 2-1. And then the Oilers press in the final minute. So it's 2-1 after 2. And it looks like the Oilers are going to coast. However, third period, 26 seconds. Bratt scores his second goal of the game from Graves and Johnson, or Janssen, at 26 seconds. I've started to hear just Janssen again. So the Johnson thing seems to have passed. And it's Peterson all over again as far as I'm concerned. And I know people are going to mention the bottom. Well, it's different because they're spelled different. A guy wants to change his name, whatever. If a guy comes out and goes, my name is now McBoogie, you kind of have to go with it, right? So anyways, so the Oilers press to answer, but it's New Jersey that scores again, and they get the lead. Hischier from Bratt at 3:14. So Bratt with 2 goals and an assist, and Hischier buried that one on a rebound from the Bratt shot. So the fans then call a penalty. The ref does not. Devils are standing up the Oilers at the line, and it looks like they might pull this off at that stage of the game. Subban and Fogle are unfriendly, but the Oilers press, and eventually they get the goal. It's Barry from Russell and Shore at 9:04. With 9:28 left, the Oilers get a power play. You don't want to do that if you're New Jersey. Draisaitl hits the side of the net, but eventually it is Evander Kane that gets the power play goal from McDavid and Barrie at 12:03. So Barrie on the board there with a goal and an assist. And then at 12:52, Hyman from Draisaitl and Puljujarvi extends the lead out to 5-3, and suddenly it seems like you can kind of relax if you're an Oilers fan in this one. The referee got hit in the face with a puck. It was a shot from Draisaitl. Draisaitl stayed there the whole time and just kept assuring the ref he didn't mean to, and the ref's like, that's fine, I know you didn't mean to, so he exits for, you would presume, some stitches. Goalie gets pulled with 2:02 left. That allows McDavid to hit the empty net at 18:34. Edmonton wins this one 6-3. They go to 35-23-4 with the win. New Jersey drops to 22-35-5 with the loss. So overall, again, for New Jersey, they're playing out the string, and Edmonton wins a game that they need. They know where they are in the standings. They want a chance to maybe move up, and that might be there as well. So the shots in this one, 9 apiece in the first, 13-9 Edmonton in the second, 18-10 Edmonton in the third. Final shots 40-28 for the Oilers, who seem to get better in each period. Power plays, New Jersey 0 for 3. Edmonton scored on their only power play. Hits 27-22 for Edmonton. Gillies saves 34 out of 39. Koskinen saves 25 out of 28. I think he's 11-1-2 in his last 14 games, something along those lines. His last 14 decisions, he's been very good. And Koskinen is solidifying that position that it was like 3 months ago. We were talking about, oh, Koskinen, and he's getting up going, and now it's Koskinen's net. It's bizarre world. All right, moving along. Vegas. Vegas seems to have figured it out. Vegas over the last couple of games seems to have gotten back to being Vegas. The game against Florida and now this one. Now, also, the LA Kings, a lot of players out with injury, right? So it's Peterson versus Thompson. They're wearing the gold helmets. For the record, they're now 4-1 when they wear the gold helmets. I assume part of that is they just look ridiculous, and when you're trying to stifle laughter, it's kind of hard to make your poke checks. So, not much room for either team early on. Janmark's denied on a fast break. The shots are only 2-1 Vegas at 6 minutes. So, it's a pretty defensive start for this game. Petrangelo's denied. His next opportunity would end up being fired wide. Vegas presses at 9 minutes. The Kings go without a shot for 7 minutes. We get a power play for the Kings. That's killed off. The Kings then get another power play. That was killed off as well, but it got 4 shots, including a nice one from Kaliev, which was saved and held. Vegas presses with 2 minutes left, and Dodonov scores from Hutton at 18-19. Then with 31 seconds left in the first period, Vegas gets a power play. So it's 1-0 for them after the first, and that power play would roll over into the second where they score on it. It's Stevenson from Eichel and Marchessault at 39 seconds. That's right, Eichel back in the lineup today. So I guess that injury wasn't that bad because he gets on the board and he's in the lineup. Kings try to answer, down 2 now. Pressed by the Kings at 6 minutes. Lizotte fires wide on a turnover. And the Kings were really taking control at this point, down by 2, and eventually Danault scores from Moore and Spence at 11:31. Vegas then gets a power play. That's killed off, so they get another one. So special teams absolutely hurting LA again, because the Vegas Golden Knights score on this power play. It's Janmark from Roy and Petrangelo at 16:24. Makes it 3-1 after 2, third period. Shots are 4-1 for the Kings at 4.5 minutes. So they're trying. They're doing everything they can. But Thompson is starting to look like the kind of goaltender that they've been looking for. Thompson's really getting there. Carrier with a net drive. That's defended. Moore can't bury one in close. Vegas was stuck on 1 shot. Strand has a blast that's saved and held onto. Vegas was keeping LA to the outside. There were shots for LA. A lot of those from the outside. A lot of those Thompson can see. Grundstrom hits the outside of the net. Firk has a blast that's saved and held. Iafallo nearly gets one. Kings are pushing at this point. Byfield fires one wide on a rush. So there were opportunities. Carrier is a wraparound that won't go. There's a press by Vegas with 5 minutes left. Goalie pull with 3.5 minutes left, which allows Petrangelo to hit the empty net at 17:32. And then with the goaltender back in the net, Amadio adds the exclamation point from Colasar at 18:48. Vegas wins 5-1. They go to 34-26-4. For LA, they're 34-22-8. So they're now 4 points ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights. I believe just 2 points now ahead of Edmonton. So pretty interesting race starting to heat up now in Pacific. Shots in this one, 13-10 LA in the first, 10-7 Vegas in the second, 19-4 in favor of LA in the third. Final shots are 39-24 for LA. Power plays, the Kings 0 for 3, Vegas 1 for 2. Hits, 44-37 for Vegas. Those are Vegas kind of hit numbers right there. Peterson saves 19 out of 23. Thompson saves 38 out of 39. And so Vegas wins. They solidify their spot in the playoffs with a Dallas loss, as well as another loss we'll talk about on one of the other boards. Next up is St. Louis in against the Columbus Blue Jackets. This was, it's how do I put this? Basically, Columbus is out of it, but Columbus is playing for some pride. And Husso versus Merzlikins in this one. We get a close call for O'Reilly in the first minute. He nearly gets one. But it is Columbus that opens the scoring. It's Bemstrom from Robinson at 3:22, and that was on a turnover. So it's 1-0 Columbus relatively early. Roslovic then had a rush chance that deflects out pretty quickly after that. We get a power play for Columbus. Laine has a chance that's held. That power play is killed off. The shots are 6-2 for Columbus at 9 minutes. Perron would score, though, from Shannon Krug at 12:36. A little bit against the flow of play, and he deked it around Elvis. Elvis had no chance on that one. And then the Blues press for the lead. However, the power play goes to Columbus not long after, and Nyquist would score on that from Laine and Bjorkstrand at 15-14. So it's 2-1 in favor of Columbus after the first. Second period, Columbus gets an early power play. That was killed off. Columbus presses shortly thereafter. And Laine eventually scores from Nyquist and Roslovic at 3:52. So it's suddenly 3-1. Blues nearly answer right after that. The shots, though, are 3-2 for Columbus at 8 minutes. Columbus has a 3-on-2 that misfires. Thomas has a net feed that won't go, but then Toropchenko with his first NHL goal. He scores from Falk and Perron at 13:43. They thought about challenging it, but they didn't. Nyquist misses one wide from in close. With 1:47 left, the Blues get a power play. So that rolls over into the third period where Columbus finishes the kill. And not only that, but Columbus has the early jump in that period. The shots are 2-0 in their favor 3 minutes in. Elvis gets hurt. Korpisalo goes in. And that's where you get a little nervous if you're Columbus, right? Because the overall numbers for Korpisalo have not been very good this year. And then Corrali would score to give them a little bit of a boost at 6:59 from Robinson and Bemstrom. But the Blues would get a power play, and they score on it. It's Perron from Shen and Krug at 8:03. That is his second goal of the game. Voracek, though, would answer. He scores from Bean and Bjorkstrand at 12:24. With 6:11 left in the game, Columbus gets a power play. That was killed off. Then they pull the goaltender with 3.5 minutes left, and eventually it's Perron. He scores at 18:40. That's a hat trick for him. And so it makes the game a little closer. The Blues call a timeout. Whatever they discussed, it doesn't work. Your final score is 5-4 for Columbus. They go to 32-28-3 with the win. For St. Louis, 34-18-9 with the loss. So things tighten up a little bit more in the Central. Your shots, 13-9 Columbus in the first, 11-7 St. Louis in the second, 8-7 St. Louis in the third. Final shots, 28-27 for the Blues. Power plays, St. Louis 2 for 3, Columbus 1 for 4. The hits, not much. 12-8 in favor of St. Louis. Husso saves 22 out of 27. Not very Husso-like numbers. Merzlikins saved 19 out of 21, and then Korpisalo saved 5 out of 7 in relief. So we'll see if Elvis is going to be out for any period of time beyond this game, or if it's just something tweaked that'll be fine the next one. But it is a big difference between Elvis being in net or Korpisalo being in net. All right, next up. Pittsburgh. I really thought this was going to work. I did the preview last night, and I wore Arizona, and I thought, if Arizona wins, then that would be huge for, Saturday's power rankings. It could throw the whole thing into chaos. Well, it doesn't. It's Jarry versus Wedgwood in this one. Early edge for the Coyotes. I hope they enjoyed that because it did not last. Matheson has a net feed that won't go. The shots are 5-4 in favor of the Coyotes at 5 minutes, which was cute because they just stopped getting shots. Mayo blocks a Matheson rush shot. Boyd has a net feed. That wouldn't go. The Pens get a power play. Wedgwood was sharp. That power play's killed off. It's a good thing he was sharp because without him, this game's ugly early. Gensel fans on one. The Pens press. The shots are 11-5 for the Pens with 7.5 minutes left. Malkin's denied on a rush, and it's all Penguins since the 5-minute mark of the period. It's just all Penguins, but it's scoreless after one. Second period. Early chance for Goss to spare, won't go. Doesn't hit the net. Pens press at 1.5 and eventually they score. It's Kapanen from Carter at 2:09. The Coyotes had gone over a full period without a shot. So it becomes kind of daunting at this point, trying to figure out how exactly are they going to get back into this when they're not getting any shots. Ghost fires one wide after they did get a shot. Pens press at the half, but eventually Keller scores from Strollman at 11:31, and I imagine the shock is why the horn was delayed. The puck goes in. He knows it's in. He seemed to be the only one that knew it was in. And so the horn eventually sounds, and the referee's like, yeah, that was goal, apparently. So it was a fast break goal that ties it up at 1. And suddenly in my head, I'm thinking this could be it, where Arizona could win a game. They have no business winning. Wedgwood was sharp on a tip by Rust shortly after that. Dumoulin then has a chance, tips high. Wedgwood's the only reason this game's tied. That's it. The nice play by Keller notwithstanding, if you don't have Wedgwood in net, you probably are looking at a 4 or 5-1 score at this point. We get a power play for the Coyotes. Boyd has a chance that's held. Good cycle, but it's killed off. With 1:01 left, the Penguins get a power play, and it then becomes a 5-on-3. Crosby's denied. The 5-on-3 had 59 seconds left going into the third period. During that, there's a Malkin post. Coyotes did kill it off, though. Only 2 actual shots on net during that 5-on-3, then 5-on-4. Penguins press after, though, more saves. So you're thinking this might get some momentum for Arizona. Nope. Kraus was denied from in close. Rust is denied on a fast break. Keller with a net drive won't go. Coyotes get a power play. It's killed off, but the fans were so loud at this point, they were really rooting for a victory. And then Pittsburgh does what Pittsburgh does. First, it's Malkin from Rust at 12:36. Then it's Crosby from Gensel at 16:13. And then the empty netter. Crosby from Gensel and Letang at 18:10. And Pittsburgh wins 4-1. They go to 38-16-9. Arizona drops to 20-37-4 with the loss. Your shots in this one, Pittsburgh. 19-5 in the first, 14-10 in the second, 16-6 in the third. Final shots 49-21 for the Penguins. Power plays 0 for 3 for Pittsburgh, 0 for 2 for Arizona. The hits 26-25 for Arizona. Jari saves 20 out of 21. Wedgwood saves 45 out of 48. So, yeah, Wedgwood had quite the game, and we'll see whether or not Arizona keeps their goalies through the deadline. I would think that both goalies with the numbers they've put up might have some interest on the market, but we will see about that. We'll see, too, whether or not Nick Ritchie's got some interest on the market. I'd be very interested to see what they can do if they can flip him. Anyhow, Ottawa. So now we get into the evening games. Ottawa in against Montreal. And it's Gustafsson versus Allen, Jake Allen being back. I really think Montreal at this point is starting to look like Montreal again. And I don't know if that's reassuring for Montreal fans now, as they're out of it. They're not going to make the playoffs, clearly. But does it make you feel better seeing how they're playing now? Sens early press. Allen saves there. The shots are 4 apiece at 6 minutes. Both goalies had been sharp. The Senators get a power play. That's killed off. Josh Brown prevents a rush for Drouin. The Habs have a 3-on-2 that's defended. There's a power play for Montreal. That was killed off, but Montreal does open the scoring. It's Evans from Lehkonen at 16:32. So he wired that one high glove. You know what? That's a power play goal right there. The Evans one is a power play goal. I did not mark it as such. Not good. Because then I put Senators get a power play. They score on theirs. It's Norris from White and Stützle at 18:51. It's 1-1 after 1. Second period. Lehkonen has a blast that's saved. Byron's was not. He scores from Pezzetta and Evans at 2:42. And then not long after that, at 4:23, it is goal Caulfield. Hits the net again. He scores from Edmondson. That's the first point Edmondson's had since his debut a few games back. So, yeah, it's 3-1, and the Senators immediately call a timeout because this game is rolling in the wrong direction for them. Gaudette's denied. Allen was square to the shooter. Allen was very positionally sound tonight. Watson has a chance saved as the Senators are pressing. So the timeout does what it's supposed to do. It kind of turns the Senators around and wakes them up a little bit. Allen denies Stützle. Anderson had a shot that was saved at the other end. Power play then for the Habs with 1:58 left. This is the power play goal. Yeah, never mind. Not the Evans. This was the power play goal here. Armia. See, this is why you got to have power play goal designation there at the time you're writing down the notes. So Schoenemann and Pitlick with the assists at 19:27. It's a perfect tip. I'll blame it on all the trade stuff I was tracking. Anyways, it's 4-1 Montreal after 2 periods. It doesn't really matter where the power play goal is. They're up 4-1. Third period, Kulak has a screenshot saved. Schoenemann has a blast that's saved. Schoenemann's playing very well right now. Lehkonen has a rush chance saved as the Habs press, and then Kulak scores from, and I've got this marked as Caulfield and Suzuki. At the time they marked it as Suzuki and Anderson, but I'm pretty sure that Caulfield tips that puck to Kulak, and at 8:14, I'm giving him the assist. I don't know that it's been changed. I haven't gone back and looked, but I think Caulfield got an assist there. That is the first goal in 17 games for Kulak, so that's pretty nice. Senators would get some pressure with 3 minutes left, but once it's a 4-goal lead, yeah, game's over. Your final score is 5-1 for Montreal. They go to 17-36 and 9. Ottawa 22-35 and 5. Your shots 13-10 Ottawa in the first, 11-10 Ottawa in the second. Shots were only 7-6 for Montreal in the third, thus my sparse notes on that. Your shots are 30-27 for Ottawa. Both teams go 1 for 2 on the power play. The hits 32-25 for Ottawa. Gustafsson saves 22 out of 27. The save percentage doesn't tell you. He played pretty well. Allen saves 29 out of 30. Allen played very well. So, yeah, rough night for Ottawa. Not the first rough night they've had this season. Probably won't be the last. Anyways, moving along. Toronto in against the Nashville Predators. So the Källgren story was nice, right? The Källgren story was this nice feel-good story for a team that really needed a goaltender that could put up really good numbers. Källgren did not have a bad game, but Nashville showed why they're one of the teams to watch in the West. So it's Källgren versus Saros in this one. The shots are 3 apiece at 3 minutes. McCarron has a net drive. That was defended. There's a net feed to Matthews. Near miss on that. Nylander has a shot that's blocked. The Leafs press with 8 minutes left, but it's Nashville that opens the scoring. It's Jeannot from Sissons and Trennan at 13:46, and then the Predators look for another. Marner was down. We end up with a power play for the Maple Leafs. Shorthanded chance for Jeannot was saved. That power play is killed off. Predators get a power play of their own. That led to a shorthanded chance for Marner, which was defended. Duchesne is then denied. That power play is killed off. So we go to the second period with it 1-0. But pretty good road period by Toronto. They gave up too many shots, but hey, Källgren's playing really well. Second period, it takes 1 minute and 48 seconds for Tolvanen on a really nice tip shot. No chance for Källgren there. Davies with the assist, so he has just come back up to the NHL, and he gets an assist. Makes it 2-0. Nashville gets a power play. The Leafs killed it off, and there were no shots. Kasha gets hurt at this point. He would not return to the game. So Andre Kasha is something that happens, and it might cause them to look for a little more depth up front at the deadline. Tavares to Nylander won't go. There's pressure by the Predators at 7.5 minutes. But then a good forecheck by Toronto reaps the rewards. It's Marner from Bunting at 8:04. I was kind of surprised there wasn't a secondary assist to Matthews because I thought he touched it, but it's fine. It was a good forecheck by Toronto that leads to the goal. However, at 10:52, Ekholm answers with an 89-mile-an-hour blast from Carrier and Tolvanen. That makes it 3-1 for Nashville. And once I saw that, I thought, yeah, Nashville's not losing this one tonight. We then get a post for Matthews. The Leafs have a power play. That was killed off. Mikheyev's denied late. The Leafs get a power play with 21 seconds left. That rolls over into the third period. In the third, Tavares has a tip that's saved. That power play is killed off. But then Matthews gets a goal. He scores from Marner at 3:41. I think they said he's got 19 goals in his last 20 games or something ridiculous like that. So that makes it 3-2. Källgren then has a delay game call. That's killed off. One shot. Nashville 0 for 3 at that point. The shots are 8-4 for the Leafs at 9 minutes. So they're playing well in the third period. They're doing what they can. They've killed off a penalty. With 8:35 left, though, the Predators get another power play, and they score on it at 12:11. It's Forsberg from Duchesne and Yossi. And so the Leafs are frustrated. Forsberg wasn't. That's his 211th goal. That is a team record for goals scored in a career as a Nashville Predator. And so, yeah, Forsberg gets that. Now, with all the talk about contract talks being stalled, is that it? Is he going to end up leaving Nashville? Does he leave Nashville at the end of the season? What are they going to do? I would not think that with where they're at in the standings that there's any chance that he gets moved. But if contract talks don't change, he may end up being gone at the end of the season, as in around, either they do something at the draft table to trade his rights, or he just leaves as a UFA. Or between now and then, they have time to figure it out. So there's 3 different options right there. So Duchesne then scores from Forsberg and Yossi at 14:09. That makes it a very lopsided score of 5-2. So they pull the goaltender. Toronto pulls the goalie. Marner does score one at 15:19. It goes in off Yossi's stick. So that makes it 5-3. They would pull the goalie again. That allows Trennan to hit the empty net from Sissons and Yossi at 19:08. So very good game for Yossi. He hit 70 points in less than 60 games. And he's joined a very elite list of defensemen who've done it. I didn't write down all the names, but I'm pretty sure all of them are Hall of Famers. Pretty sure I'm thinking back to like Leach or Coffey. I'm pretty sure everybody who's done it is a Hall of Famer. And Yossi at this point, I think, is borderline already a Hall of Famer. So, final score 6-3. Nashville wins this one. They go to 36, 22, and 4. They keep pace with the Minnesota Wild. They gain 2 points on the St. Louis Blues. And for Toronto, 39, 18, and 5. They miss out on a chance to move up a little bit and make things a little more interesting in the Atlantic. Your shots in this one, 16-9 Nashville in the first, 13-8 Toronto in the second, 19-10 Toronto in the third. Final shots, 41-34 for the Leafs. Power plays, Toronto 0 for 3. Nashville 1 for 4. The hits, 37-27 Nashville. Shalgren saves 28 out of 33. Saros saves 38 out of 41. And again, UC Saros, pretty good goaltender. Pretty solid goaltender all around. Although every single game they will talk about how short he is. Next up, Rangers in against Tampa. So they were trying to sweep the season series against Tampa. And yeah, they did pretty well. This shows that the Rangers play pretty well against Tampa, and Shesterkin plays pretty well against Tampa too. So it's Shesterkin versus Vasilevsky. Early jump for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay presses 3 minutes into the period. Hunt has a net drive that's saved. Things get scrappy behind the Bolts net. There's a delay game call that leads to a Rangers power play. There were a lot of power plays in this game. So the Rangers have that power play. The Bolts kill it off. The shots at that point are 5-3 for the Rangers. So the Rangers have started to take over the game a little bit at that point. But then there's a press by the Bolts with 8 minutes left. They get a power play. Stamkos has a shot that's held, but eventually they score on it. It's Braden Point from Hedman and Stamkos at 16:41. So after the first period, it's 1-0 Tampa. Second period, early Rangers power play. We then get a minute and 11 seconds of 4-on-4. Kucherov has a net feed that's blocked. Everything gets killed off. Then the Bolts get a power play after that. Near miss for Colton. That power play is killed off. Trouba scores. There's a goalie interference challenge. It's unsuccessful. Trouba gets that goal from Nemeth and Hedel at 9:25, so it's a good goal, and the Rangers get the power play out of it. Fox had a chance on a turnover that was saved. They end up killing that off. Lindgren then had a fight with Maroon, so that was something right there. Rangers get a power play. That's killed off. No shots. 58 seconds left. The Rangers get another power play. So that rolls over into the third, where the Bolts finish the kill. Maroon has another fight. He fights with Reeves. So Pat Maroon, busy dance card for him tonight. Shots are 2-0 for the Rangers at 4.5 minutes. So they're really keeping this game from opening up too much for Tampa, right? You just don't want that. You don't want to give them the opportunities. Belmar has a chance that's denied. Things get kind of punchy after that save's made. Stamkos is denied as the Bolts press. Hunt then has a blast that deflects out. Perry with a rush chance that's saved with 2:15 left. The Rangers get a power play. And they do score. No. Yes, they do score on it. Although I guess they... Okay, so this is scored with 1 second left in the power play, and it's something that they do, and they'll change the scoring. And I think they did. So it's a power play goal by my count because it was scored at 19:44. But if they change the time to 19:45, it's not a power play goal. So Zibanejad scores from Panarin and Fox. And I put here at the end of the power play, so I guess they adjusted it by a second. And Tampa Bay ends up losing this one with mere seconds left. 2-1 to the Rangers. So they go to 39-18-5. For Tampa, they're 39-16-6. So that just shows that if Toronto had won that game tonight, we'd have quite the picture going on in the Atlantic, but Tampa Bay and Toronto both lose in regulation. The shots in this one, 16-8 Tampa in the first, 13-5 Rangers in the second, 8-6 Tampa in the third. Final shots, 29-27 for Tampa. Power plays, the Rangers. It says 0 for 6. By my count, they were 1 for 6. Tampa Bay 1 for 3. The hits, 36-30 for Tampa. Shesterkin saves 28 out of 29. Vasilevsky saves 25 out of 27. So very good goaltending in this one. Pretty solid game, and if these teams meet in the playoffs, could be a nail-biter. That being said, I need to change boards. All right, so Calgary in against the Vancouver Canucks. Calgary did not forget the beating that Vancouver gave them last time out. And this is a Calgary team that's played a lot of hockey lately. You wouldn't know it by watching this game. So it was Vladar versus Demko. Tkachuk has a tip that's saved. The Flames are hitting. The Flames have the early edge. Demko's holding on as much as he can. Hamonic with a rush chance that's saved. and then a rush chance goes in. For Calgary, it's Hanifin from Yarncroke at 4:45. Tkachuk would then score from Backlund and Dubé at 7:46. That was the 9th shot for Calgary, and a lot of them are dangerous chances. Canucks had 4 shots. Pettersson then has a net drive that's defended. The puck immediately goes the other way. Rasmus Andersson scores from Tkachuk and Dubé. So that's 2 goals from the defenseman. That goal scored at 13:51. It's 3-0 Calgary after the first period. And yes, you know I updated those records after the first period. I'm like, yeah, the Canucks are not coming back from 3-0 down against Calgary. Miller's denied as the Canucks press in the second. They had a good start. And then, first chance the Flames get in the second, it goes in the net. It's Lindholm from Toffoli at 4:29. Dubé then fires one high on a rush. We get a power play for Vancouver. OEL has a shot that's saved and held. Power play's killed off, just had the 2 shots. Flames get a power play. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1 that was defended. Power play is killed off. There's a stretch pass to Tkachuk. There's a near miss there. Flames press with 3 minutes left. Toffoli can't bury on a 2-on-1. Looked skyward after that one. But after the second period, it is 4-0. And I agree with fans that said that score probably flattered Vancouver a bit. So mercy pull happens to start the third. Jaro Halak comes in. He did improve his stats. Improved his stats with what he did tonight. So there's an early Canuck press. Patterson's denied. The Flames cleared out. OEL has a shot that deflects out. Pearson with a rush chance. That was saved. We get a power play for the Flames. And honestly, Halak had been doing well. And as I'm writing that, power play goal by Calgary. Apologies. Gaudreau scores from Tkachuk and Anderson at 6:28. And then roughly a minute later, Vancouver breaks the shutout because the announcers were talking about shutouts. Highmore scores from Lammikko and Hunt at 7:37. And, I like to see Highmore get the goal and Lammikko with the assist because they're hardworking players. And I like to see them rewarded with points. And I thought it was very fitting that the first goal comes from their 4th line. Horvat fires one wide on a rush. With 2:54 left, the Canucks get a power play. For what it's worth, they do score on it. It's Brock Besser from Pettersson and Hughes at 17:14. That's his, I think, 3rd goal in his last 13 games. It's been a rough time for him, and there was definitely a lot made of him slamming the door when he came to the bench earlier than that. So your final score is 5-2 for Calgary. Honestly, the Canucks at this point, I think they're going to have to decide which pieces to sell as of Monday. We may have seen Besser play his last game as a Canuck. We may have seen Garland play his last game as a Canuck. We may have seen both. I'm not sure what's going to happen on Monday or even tomorrow, for instance. Today we saw a lot of movement. But I think this game shows the Canucks are not right now a playoff team. So Calgary goes to 38-16-7 with the 5-2 win. Vancouver's 30-26-7, and combined with the win Vegas got, they're now 5 points back of a playoff spot. So Calgary outshoots them the whole way through, 16-4 in the first, 13-10 in the second, 15-11 in the third. Final shots 44-25 for Calgary. Power plays both teams 1 for 2. The hits 32-25 for Calgary. Vladar saves 23 out of 25. Demko saves 25 out of 29. Halak saves 14 out of 15. And I'm going to say this too, even as a Canuck fan. I hope Calgary goes a pretty good distance in the playoffs. This is a team that I really like the players they've added. I really like the look of the roster. I hope they do well in the playoffs. Honestly. All right. I don't think every single Canuck fan is going to wish the Flames well in the playoffs, but I'm willing to do so. All right. Last game of the night, Detroit in against Seattle, and it looked like Detroit was going to do it again. I really thought Detroit was going to do it again. This is one of those games that it felt like it's important. Seattle fans haven't had a lot to cheer for at home or on the road. So it's Nedeljkovic versus Grubauer. There's an early press by Seattle. Donato fans on one from the slot. The shots are 3-0 for the Kraken 5 minutes into this. We get a power play for Seattle. That's killed off. The shots are 9-0 at the halfway mark. 9-0 for Seattle. Nemesnikov versus Larson then happens. That's a fight I didn't expect. Zadina has a rush chance to deflect out. The only reason this is scoreless after the first is Nedeljkovic, who I thought had a better game tonight than he had in Vancouver. He didn't end up getting the shutout. He didn't end up getting the victory. But I thought he played better than he did in Vancouver, only because he made so many highlight reel saves. And against Vancouver, a lot of the ones Vancouver got on him were from a distance, easy to see, that kind of thing. Second period. Shots are 2 apiece at 5 minutes, but they're 18-8 overall. So better start to the period for Detroit. Kraken press. The Wings do clear it out, though. There's a power play for Seattle. That's killed off. Seattle gets another power play. They end up with 5-on-3 for 59 seconds. So Jeff Blashill calls a timeout. Whatever he discussed during the timeout, it works because they do kill it off. And right after the kill, Detroit opens the scoring. It's Veleno from Larkin at 13-18. We then get a power play for the Wings with 4:12 left, and they score on it. It's Hirose with his first goal since, I think they said 2019, from Bertuzzi and Raymond at 16:08. I think, remember the last time he scored a goal because I said his name wrong, and people were correcting me on it, like 3 years ago. So yeah, Hirose with the goal. That makes it 2-0 after the second period. So again, I'm thinking going into the third, Detroit had a better second period than they had a first, and yeah, they should be able to bring this home. Seattle's the team that's been struggling. But third period, Dunn has a chance to deflect out. His next opportunity was tipped wide, and you could see Seattle was bearing down in the third. They get a power play. Keep in mind, if Nedeljkovic can see it, he's going to save it, was basically the rule to that point in the game. So that power play's killed off. The Wings clear that out. Sheahan has a rush chance that's denied. Zadina can't bury on a rebound. And then Larson on what, and I've described it as a rolling puck that bounces in, but it was a tricky play. I can understand Nedeljkovic missing it. Dunn and McCann with the assists at 7 minutes and 10 seconds. So a nice goal by Larson, who's shown some offensive acumen with Seattle I never saw in Edmonton. Eberle then has a net drive that's defended. As you could see, Seattle's aware. Let's go for it. Schwartz, he ties the game from Dunn and Wenberg at 9:54. He backhands it short side. Made it look relatively easy. Schwartz then is denied as they were going for the lead. Seattle has a 3-on-2 that's broken up. But then at 13:03, it's Yanni Gourde. He scores from Fleury, and that one goes in off Maurice Seider's skate. So suddenly it's 3-2 for Seattle. Detroit pulls the goaltender with 2 minutes left. That allows Yanni Gourde to get a goal. This is his first multiple goal game as a Seattle Kraken team member. Appleton with the assist at 19:41. Seattle with the huge comeback victory. This is only the second time that Detroit's been leading going into the third that they've lost in regulation all season. So Detroit drops 25-30-7 with the 4-2 loss. Seattle 19-38-6 with the win. Your shots in this one favor Seattle the whole way. 16-6 in the first, 11-10 in the second, 15-8 in the third. Final shots 42-24 for the Kraken. Power plays Detroit 1 for 1, Seattle 0 for 5. Hits 20-11 for Seattle. Nedeljkovic saves 38 out of 41. Grubauer saves 22 out of 24. He played well, and before Seattle started their comeback, he had some really nice saves in and about the start of that third period to keep things close. And in the end, they come back and win it. So let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.